Hello and welcome to Look What I Found in the Clutches of Chaos. We're the Mythos Busters. I'm Sean. Joining me tonight is, let's go with Ian first. Hi, Ian.
Oh, hi.
And
I'm
Scott.
here.
Hi.
And Nick.
Hello.
So, guys, we've got, I guess, a player card preview. I don't know, I always struggle to use the word spoiler when it comes to player cards because it's not actually, plot involved.
Yeah.
And,
It's a reveal.
Yes, let's go with that. So it's a reveal. And yeah, I suppose we should just hop right into it, right? Nick? I feel like it's been a while since you've read on the old Look What I Found. Do you want to take this one?
Sure. I think I haven't been on one since number 2, so
Lovely.
I
you
will
still
read it.
Okay.
Yeah. I
So
have a
our
good-
card. Go.
Bum, bum,
Not
bum, 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 bum. Ghastly Revelation. It is a secret event. It has a 0 resource cost. It's level 0. Has 2 intellect icons. It is spirit traded, and its game text reads: discover 3 clues at your location. Give any number of your clues to another investigator, or place any number of your clues on any location. You are defeated and suffer 1 mental trauma. This action is good. It doesn't provoke attacks of opportunity. Thank God.
Yes.
What the fuck is this?
Thanks, Sean, for giving me a shitty card to read.
No. I don't think this is shitty at all.
This is
This
the counter.
is
This is the counter.
Seeker.
Yeah, this is.
God.
I'll see you in hell.
Yeah, exactly.
Or Stock
sure.
says, I'll read about it in hell.
That's good.
All right, now, Nick, I want to hear your thoughts first because this is your first reading of this card ever. What's your hot
it's
take?
the first time I've seen it. So you get 3 clues for free and you hand them off and then you die. So the use of this is incredibly limited. It's when you need to continue to get clues, but you yourself are about to go. That's when you use this. So now that means that you can't use this if the doom is about to end the scenario. You can't do this if everyone is close to death. You can only really do this if the seeker's going to go or whoever has this, but there's going to be at least one other player who's continuing. So in a couple of 2-player games, I could see where I would have had use for this, but honestly, this is something that I wouldn't include in a deck unless I knew exactly what kind of scenario I was going up against. I would not blind add this to a deck.
So, I guess my thought. Okay, so how do you feel about I'll see you in hell? How often do you run that?
0, never.
Okay. I think what saves these cards for me is the icons.
Oh, jeez.
I mean, you say that.
That's not a save at this point, though.
It can matter. It can matter. People still use the neutral skill cards, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
If you've got another draw engine and that then draw a card is not quite so important to you, these double icon cards are not bad. Because this is a boost to a test once, and if it so happens that you get in a tight spot and this is advantageous, Daisy would much rather take a mental trauma than a physical trauma.
I think there are a lot of other yellow cards, though, that would provide double intellect, though.
Yeah, Unearth the Ancients.
Oh, quiet.
You know what? I would take Unearth the Ancients over this.
Okay, now. Okay.
So Calvin can take that.
Yeah,
that is true.
Okay, fair.
It's definitely a decent Kelvin card. I mean, it gives him the trauma, which could be a good thing, and lets him do kind of a big last-ditch effort. Yeah, I mean, I agree that it's a niche card. I think how you approach this will just depend on, I feel like Arkham players either fall into the camp of I don't want to plan for failing a scenario, so I'm not going to include those kind of cards. I'm going to include cards that are going to help me win. And then there's the other group that are more open to I'll include maybe a copy or 2 of cards that are kind of break in case of emergency. If we do fail, I have something in my back pocket. And so I think which camp you fall into will determine whether you see any value in this card or not. And I feel like I go back and forth between the 2, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is, and this is going to seem weird, but I think it's kind of a late campaign card, even though it's a 0 XP. And it would be something along the lines of like you're going into Lost in Time and Space, where sometimes like the seeker's way over there, they have the clues, but everyone else is like at the edge of the universe or something, and they need clues.
It's like a Hail Mary lateral.
Yeah, exactly, right? Like it's just well, best of luck, guys. Here's some clues. Peace out. Yeah.
I feel I'm also partially warmer to this card than I might have otherwise been because there are 2 games that I've played recently that this would have saved my game if I had it.
Mm-hmm.
I've had 2 situations, 2 recent scenarios I played where it came down to basically the last turn before dooming out, and I just couldn't get enough clues in time. And if I would have had this, that would have been enough to win the game for me.
But even if you had access to this card, would you have put it into your deck before that game even started?
I do not know. I cannot. Yeah, I really don't know.
I think I'd put one of these in a team-based deck, obviously. I guess.
Well, let's go with this. No. Let's go with this. We just built a
Mhm,
Skids and Daisy dual
Mhm.
decks,
mhm.
to use a magic term.
I'd put
What would
one
you
in.
take out of that Daisy deck to put this in? I know you'd put it in, but what would you take out?
Well, I don't
We had
have
a hard
list, but
time taking out. We had a hard time getting to 30 cards. Like,
Yeah. I think this is also. I will say this. I think this is also better in hard and expert, where.
well, sure, yeah.
Sure.
But like, I mean, maybe this is a card that you only use there. Like, I don't think I'd put this in a standard deck. I think it would have to be minimum playing it hard because,
Mhm.
or even at like once you get to expert, it's like if you're Daisy, you're like, yeah, I'll take a mental trauma or a physical trauma and discover 3 clues without a test, and all my clues go to somebody instead of falling on my location. Like,
Boy, that sounds like a fun state of mind to be in.
I mean,
Right.
that's expert, but
Yeah.
I mean, but like that's not going to be every scenario, right? And Sean, like you said, those double intellect icons, you can't scoff at that because those are really good icons, especially if you're that like super narrow focused seeker.
How do you
Yeah.
think? How do you think they arrived at 3 clues?
Oh, I would bet they started with 2 and were like, this is too bad. Like, this card won't work.
Well, why not go
There
to
has to be
4?
some
Because
of
then,
them.
like in a big multiplayer game, you can clear 1 per location.
Maybe that's exactly why.
That's why they went to 3. Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn it! So I mean,
They don't want
wonder-
people to have a 1-turn answer or a 1-action answer to victory points. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And the reason, like the whole this action doesn't provoke attacks of opportunity. If you're swarmed by monsters, you die before this finished. If it didn't,
Right.
Oh,
or if
I
you're
see.
So
you're
you-
on death's door.
yeah. So you could take like if you have Daisy and you have 4 damage already, and you get a big damage monster on you, you can do this to jack out of the scenario instead
Right.
of
Mhm.
So say you're in a situation. Say you're in like Boundary Beyond. I can't even remember if this is a. Never mind. I'll just go completely hypothetical. You're in a situation where you're engaged with an enemy, and your last objective is to clear the clues on the location you're on, and you can do it with this card.
Mhm.
Can you advance before you're defeated? I assume not.
no,
Yeah.
because you have to complete the entire card of text,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then you would have that window to advance.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But in I mean, I would have to do some kind of statistical analysis, but there are quite a few scenarios that I can think of where they do end with like clear off this last location to win. So in multiplayer,
Yeah,
it
absolutely.
could potentially be useful. I definitely think this is a card that not necessarily you're packing it in your blind runs or into
No.
a campaign or scenario you're not very familiar with. But if you are like really teching a campaign within the inch of its life for like an Iron Man or something, similar to that, then I could see this that you could concretely look at certain scenarios and be like, okay, this might be useful to like maybe it's one of those scenarios that ends a campaign, and maybe if you have this, you can sacrifice one investigator so that the rest can continue under certain situations. I don't know, stuff like that. I think it rewards like teching and pre-planning more
And
than
it's
anything.
just one mental trauma. It's not like that investigator is killed, right? So if
Right.
it's that,
Sure.
if it's like, what's the Carcosa, you're in the mental hospital. Unspeakable Oath?
Unspeakable Oath.
Unspeakable Oath, yeah.
You know, something like
It's
that.
Unspeakable
where,
Oath.
Yeah. The Thoth in the chat brings up Essex, right? Like
yeah,
when you
for
guys are
sure.
once you're stuck on a train car, one person sacrifices themselves so that you all don't fall off, something like that. So yeah, I don't know.
I
like
mean,
it.
if we start doing our Ironmans on expert, then I will not get upset if somebody includes this. Also, I think that this probably has a better place in like, well, I don't know. I was thinking, would a straight seeker, like would a hardcore seeker take this, or would it go into an off class seeker? But then I was thinking, no, if I were Roland, I would not want that mental trauma. Like that can just fuck right off, sir. So I honestly don't know. It probably would just go in Seeker. But then again, I come to that conclusion where I think that Seeker already has too many good cards that this doesn't really have a place without literally planning for this to get used. You know what I mean?
It gives Lola something to do.
Gives her something to do. Yeah, okay. Great. Perfect. We found it.
Well, if you do Roland, you can take I'll See You in Hell and this. So you can decide what trauma you want. There you go.
Oh, perfect. Why didn't I think of that?
Yeah.
Oh my
Lola
goodness.
could also take I'm Out of Here. So she could have all three.
Yeah. See, I'm Out of Here. I like that one. I like that better than I'll See You in Hell or this, because that, like, there's so many games when you get down to it and you're like, if only I could get to the resign location. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that just saves you. That's like moving X a number of times.
Yeah.
This, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I can see the use for this, but I also feel like that use is incredibly narrow.
Mr. Trench in the chat, he'd rather have Carolyn do this than instead of getting snake bitten and poisoned and stuff.
Sure.
So
I keep coming back to the fact that it's the opportunity cost. Yes, Nick, I agree with you that most games you won't use this.
Mm-hmm.
But it's got 2 icons. So if those are icons you value,
so throw it in.
I'm telling you, like, for an important test, a card with 2 icons is.
But there are so many better cards with 2 intellect icons.
Well, better's a subjective
Like Unearth the
term.
Ancients, right?
Okay, more universally useful.
Yeah, but I think this issue is this card is so niche. Just like I'll See You in Hell.
That is the issue. That's what I'm arguing.
But I think I don't know. I think this is a one of if you're going into the jungle as a seeker who doesn't have a lot of options on getting away from the snakes. Like I wouldn't take this in Ursula.
Right.
Because Ursula's got built-in defense, right? Something like Daisy, with all that mental space she has. I don't know. And this also allows you to split the party, right? Like your seeker can go off and finish that location while everyone else gets to the end bit where you have to cash in all the clues. And then that ability to transfer the clues, I think that's the biggest part of this card. Like that's huge...
I'll agree. That's where the strength is.
Yep.
Like being able to just hand them off across the map is huge.
Because how many times as a solo seeker, you're like, or not solo seeker, but the main seeker, you have like 14 or 16 clues of the 20 you need for your play group, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you're about to die, then it's pretty much game over for your whole party if they just get dropped.
I'll make the argument that, like, how often do you guys find in some of the tougher scenarios that it really comes down to, like, the last 1 or 2 turns? This is a lot you can get done in a single action in crunch time.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'll concede to that. I think including it for its icons is still dumb, but its use may not be as niche as I'm claiming.
I don't think you include it for its icons. I think you're able
to
include a niche card because of its icons.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay.
If
totally.
I wouldn't agree with that either.
If this had a single pip, like it would be, or a single icon, it would be, I'd have a harder time putting it in. Because it's basically a perception without the card draw, I'm a little more lenient to the niche aspect of it.
Sure.
Fair enough. All right. Well, This is an interesting one, at least. I
Yeah.
expect we'll talk about this probably about as much as we talk about I'll See You in Hell.
Probably. Yeah.
But it's really cool design. I mean, this is a sort of design that you can only get in a game like this. Like, can you compare this to any card from any other card game? Don't even try.
well,
Just don't do it. Just don't.
it's a big question.
In Magic.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for joining us for this special edition of Look What I Found. So we are going to be jumping over to our Discord to record episode 62, right? 2 of Mythos Busters.
Indeed.
So if you're not a member of the Discord and you'd like to join, it's discord.me/mythosbusters, and you can come and hop in the live podcast channel. And so on behalf of Mythos Busters, thanks everyone for joining us. We'll see you next pack.
Mm-hmm.